Coming into a big weekend here for the Texas Longhorns in 2026 recruiting. It is going to be a FutureCast Friday today, as Cody was putting in his FutureCast for the weekend, trying to get ahead of the curve here and snipe some of these other analysts on the Rivals Network as far as his predictions for what might happen with officials going on across the country. Cody, let me just ask you first. Over under this weekend as far as Texas commitments. Commitments this weekend, and it could be from players who aren't necessarily in town this weekend. What is your over under for whenever we come back on Monday? How many new commits is Texas going to have?
That happened this weekend. I think if you count Vodney Cleveland, who's not going to be in Texas this weekend, but there's projection that he's going to commit. No, he's going to commit tomorrow, but that he could commit to Texas. I think I'll go. I think I like 3. But if you gave me 3.5, I might. If you gave me juice, I might take the over and go 4. But I think I feel good about 3.
All right, let's go over some of the guys that you highlighted in your column today. So you have Aaron Thomas, the offensive tackle from Phoenix, who Texas was in on, right? And he has a top 5 of Ohio State, Florida State, Texas, Washington, and A&M. Look, man, he's a guy who I thought, if you can get, if you're Texas, some kind of, get Roseboro and get Thomas and get some of these guys, it could sort of heal the possible pain that you might feel if you weren't to land a Felix Ojo, you weren't to land a John Turntine, or to get that group with Zayden Crippen and all the rest. What do you have as far as your future cast this weekend for Aaron Thomas?
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago when we brought up Aaron Thomas the first time, he's at a Mountain Point in Phoenix, Arizona, 6'7", 300 pounds, 38th ranked tackle in America. I think a couple of weeks ago I might have said, well, if Texas gets him in on the 13th, it'll be a lean towards Texas. He was at Ohio State, Florida State, and this weekend he'll be at Texas A&M. They got Sam Roseboro to Texas A&M earlier this week. I think A&M's, whether anybody likes to talk about it or not, they're pretty warm right now. They're heating up. And they have 1 offensive lineman committed to A&M. And when I talked to Aaron Thomas, it seemed like he wasn't going to be able to get a Texas visit back on the books. I would bet, and I'm future casting Aaron Thomas to the Aggies this weekend.
All right, next one, another Thomas, Kelvin Thomas, the linebacker from Cypress Ranch. What do you have on him?
This is an interesting one. Not a lot of conversation about Kelvin Thomas, 6'3", 215 pounds from Cypress Ranch, like you said, the 22nd ranked linebacker. But he's got some interesting molds to like the Xavier Griffin type, the Trey Moore type, where the guy's going to play outside linebacker, can play inside, can come off the edge, kind of a specialty where he can come off the edge, and he's pretty talented at that. He's taken OVs to Michigan and Nebraska the last few weeks. I think that Texas feels good about Xavier Griffin, but I think they'd feel a little bit better if they could get Kelvin Thomas in. They got him in for a visit this weekend. I future casted him a couple of days ago to be a Texas commit. I'm going to go with him committing this weekend.
All right, the third one here, Max Sutter, who Texas offered, I believe, back in that was earlier in the spring, right? Or was that recently?
They offered him like in January.
Okay, yeah, so like January, yeah. So, and he's a guy who I've talked to some people about, what the story was with him. It looks like you're with me as far as what I'm hearing, as far as what you are going to be future casting him for.
Yeah, Max Sutter. It's like the reason I kind of plugged him in here was, again, partly you put that note in I think 2 weeks ago into the war room. And there's been more things just kind of coming out about Max Sutter. He's going to be in Tuscaloosa this weekend. He's been at Penn State, Ohio State, and Ole Miss the last couple of weeks. And the tight ends are just trickling off the board. We'll talk about another one here in a minute, but Sutter feels like he's pretty much locked into Alabama, so that's the direction I'm going to go.
Did you mention in your write-up, Kate? Do you mention Caden Prothrow? What does he have to do with this?
Caden Prothrow, I'm not going to predict Caden Prothrow today. I'll be honest with you, because
he's going to go to Georgia.
Yeah, I've had him in as Georgia for a long time, but he's going to be at.
He's going to be in Austin this week.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, he's in Austin this weekend. I've had a Georgia in on him for I think the better part of a month or two, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I think he's pretty much locked in there.
Prothrow reminds me of like a mix of Kyle Pitts and a fast Kelvin Benjamin. He's something else, man. He's a big play waiting to happen. He's going to be good. And I think, and the thing with Georgia is they already have a good tight end committed, don't they?
Yeah, Georgia's already got, I think, the number. What the heck is he? Number 5, number 6? I gotta go look here.
That's what Texas needs to do is they need to convince that guy. He's like, dude, Georgia's already got their guy.
Lincoln Keys. He's from Saline, Michigan, 6'6", 225. He committed back in November.
You also wrote up Koa Brown, the athlete / he's a defensive end and a tight end from California. Actually, the son of former UFC fighter Travis Brown and Ronda Rousey. So the guy's obviously got some pretty intense bloodlines. What do you have on Koa Brown?
Stepson of Ronda, not her child, but stepson anyway. Travis Brown's
Still, man, she probably still tried to get him in all kinds of arm bars and stuff, dude. That
I
kid grew up
could probably see that. Brown was offered actually on May 31st. He had an offer from USC come in. His offer sheet's not really that dense. It's like Arizona, BYU of schools that have come in
because his huddle is not all that impressive.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to throw the kid under the bus. There's a lot of projection here in Koa Brown. More so for me on the tight end side. Good blocker, guy that can get out into space and move. You can see some projection here. He's out of Corona, California. He's gotten 4 stars in a number of services. A borderline top 200 kid. I'm going to put him to Texas. It's his first official visit on the books that I've been able to find, and it's his first time getting to Austin. So this is kind of a wild card one here. I'm not going to put percentages on stuff, but if you're going to put a percentage on this guy, it might not be like 100%. It might be closer to like a 75, just because it kind of feels like a wild card going in, not knowing exactly where his mind is at.
He's a perfect fit in the outside zone and the inside zone, split zone stuff where you gotta, they always talked about how they love Juan Davis, the way he could just, anytime that linebacker's trying to, fly at B gap, a dude who could just dominate, kind of down blocking on that from that sniffer spot. It's like at least if you're looking for that, you see that a bunch on the huddle. So I also, if I don't put in future casts, but if I were to put in future casts, I would put one in for Koa Brown because I think that thing pops this weekend. Let's see. Next, you had Xavier Crowell. We've talked a ton about him. He's from Alabama. I'm guessing you're going to say the same stuff that he's planning to commit today.
Yeah.
Wait. When does he commit?
He's committing next
Friday.
Next Thursday.
Oh, next.
Texas fans don't really want to hear about this, though. It sounds like he's going to go to Alabama. That's kind of been the lean. I've had that one in for about 2 months, but he'll have visit to Alabama this weekend. The one though that, man, this is the one that I'm most excited for because we did a column that we combined on Orange Bloods. You guys can go check it out, read it all up. It's about every official visitor at Texas this weekend. Chase Calicut, the safety from Houston, push the chips in, man. I've had this future cast in since January. Chase Calcut's a significantly underrated player prospect. He spent the last couple of weeks at Georgia, at Michigan. He had nice things to say about Kirby coming out of Georgia. Last weekend he was at Michigan, and he said, you know what? Michigan's in my top 3. Later on, he said, Michigan's in my top 2. But the one thing that stands still, this guy commits next Friday, Chase Calicut. He's going to be at Texas this weekend. Future casting to Texas, 100%.
Thanks so much to the Man Eye Institute for sponsoring the show here today. The Man Eye Institute is the presenting sponsor here of our show on Orange Bloods Live. We can't tell you how much we appreciate those guys. Make sure to give them a phone call at 844-2020 or WOW 2020. I think I have it memorized by now. Right. Yeah. 844 WOW 2020, the Man Eye Institute, the presenting sponsor here on Football with Friends. Also, coming into the weekend, make sure and go check out Texas Beef Traders. Get your 10% off over there this weekend. It's going to be a big one. Cody's got Chase Calicut, Koa Brown, future casted crystal ball, whatever it is you want to call it, depending on the service that you use, to Texas, as well as Vodney Cleveland, who visited last week. So going to be a big weekend for the Longhorns. Hope it's a big weekend for you. We'll see you guys on Monday.